Hello, Cynthia. Good morning.
Hi, Vanessa. How are you?
I am wonderful. I'm so excited to be chatting with you today.
Yeah, we're going to talk about how to write and publish a book in what, 6 months?
Yes, and I
Cool.
would love for our listeners to hear a little bit about who you are before we get into that.
Okay, well, my name is Cynthia Gregory. I'm an award-winning author, a writing coach, and publisher of the Love Notes anthology, which was released in 2024, featuring stories of 30 people from 7 countries around the world.
That was an amazing project.
It was so much fun. It was so much fun to have you be a part of it, knowing how closely we've worked together. And it was such a beautiful project the whole time. And people continue to talk about, what an impact it had on them. So that's super fun. You have a new book project coming up. Tell us about your first book.
Well, thank you. Yes. So I'm Vanessa Nixon. I'm a traditional naturopath, and I specialize in helping empower women to navigate their menopausal journey holistically. And my first book is Metamorphosis Ritual Spells and Natural Remedies for Peri, Mid, and Post Menopausal Women. I just have just such a wonderful memory of the experience of writing and publishing that book, in part because you were my writing coach and you made it not only really fun, but you drew out this curiosity in me around the writing process and the publishing process, which was, the writing is not new for me, but publishing is. It's my first publication. And I was just really fascinated with the process of that. That was 2 years ago. I published,
Already?
yeah, can you believe it? I published it on my birthday 2 years ago in November. And now I am publishing a companion piece. This is a book that's going to go along with the Metamorphosis series, and I'm publishing it on my birthday this year. So, on my 54th birthday, I will be publishing my second book. And
With your own publishing imprint, right?
yes, with my own publishing imprint. And I do have a little sneak peek of the cover, although I don't have the actual book yet to be holding up and showing you. I do
Soon enough.
a little sneak peek that I can share.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so it's that same, imagery of the metamorphosis of the butterfly breaking out of the cocoon, which I feel is just so appropriate to this phase of life. And as you
What
can
a
see, this one is called the Metamorphosis Playbook.
yeah. Not a workbook, it's playtime.
That's right, because as we are, we always hear about working on our health and working on our personal development. And while there's effort involved and there's, energy that we put towards our transformation, I think that when we allow ourselves to have fun with it and bring that concept of play into it, that transformation is just so much deeper and it comes
Mm.
with a little bit more ease and fun. So,
It raises the frequency too, right? So that everything about it kind of sparkles, which is how it should be.
exactly, especially at this phase of life, because we're so conditioned to think that this is, we're going downhill and, all of that sparkly stuff in our lives is over. And, what I've discovered is that this can be the most sparkly, the
This is when the
most,
sparkle really begins.
yes, the most magical and most potent
Yes.
time of
Yes.
our life when we really have the opportunity to bring our own magic out into the world.
Mm, powerful stuff. And so, how does the workbook support the wisdom in the book?
It is a compilation of all of the practices and rituals and
Mm,
techniques and exercises that were sprinkled throughout the original book. And it extracts all of those and expands on them and kind of gives them room to breathe and
mm,
room for the reader to really feel into them and to go more deeply into the information that's in the original book while
beautiful.
working through those practices in its own container.
That is gorgeous. And so there's an element of journaling in the playbook, which I especially love because it's integrating both the physical, the emotional, and the mental all in one place. As writing by hand will do, it works all parts of our physiology.
Yes, the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and energetic, all of those levels have an important place in our healing and transformation. We need to be able to heal all of those levels in order to find really true transformation. And that's what I'm hoping for with this playbook.
That's such potent magic. When can people buy their copies of the playbook?
Well, I'm glad you asked because I am having a special launch day on my birthday, which is Wednesday, November 13th. And on that one day, the Kindle version of the book will be absolutely free. So
Hell,
people can purchase or, download that Kindle version off of Amazon on that one day for free. And I will also have the paperback version on discount for that day as well. And so
what a
that's
beautiful
launch day.
birthday
That's when
gift.
we're putting it out into the world. And I really want as many people to be able to, um, you know, to to play with this as possible. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing such big discount on launch day.
On launch day, on your birthday, on the birthday of book number two.
Yes, we all get to celebrate together.
Oh, what a fun birthday that is. What's next? Are there more books in you? Are there more books forthcoming? Are we going to have a new book every birthday for Vanessa?
Maybe there definitely are more books coming. There is another book coming that I'm already working on in the Metamorphosis series in this bundle of books. And it's going to be a Metamorphosis herbal where I'm kind of doing the same thing that I did with the playbook, where I'm taking all of the herbs that are really wonderful, potent menopausal plant allies, and I'm taking those and giving them space and expanding a little bit on the information from the original book on herbs and creating a third book that is specifically just focused on herbs for metamorphosis.
That is so beautiful. You're creating an entire library of herbal assistance for women. What a gorgeous gift to the world.
Well, thank you so much. I have to thank you especially for supporting me through this process because I have wanted to write and publish books for a very long time. And I've done a lot of writing over the years. In fact, I wrote my first book when I was 11. I don't know if I ever
Oh,
as a writing project for school, and I got elected to go to the University of Oregon for this writing camp.
oh my
Um,
God.
Me and I don't know, maybe six or 10 other people from my school. And it was such a big thrill at 11 years old to be selected, to have my book selected, and to go and um, do some workshops with some writing professors at the university and get my picture in the local paper.
So it's kind of the full circle of the full archetype of the maiden and the mother and the crone in this creative writing pathway that you've been on for more than just the last few years. How wonderful is that?
It is really wonderful. It does feel like completing that cycle. And I want to thank you for supporting me to actually get these books published. As I said, that is one of the things that's made this process fun and actually just made it doable for me because
Right?
I didn't know the first thing about actually publishing a book. But your passion for writing is just contagious. And so what I want to know is why are you so passionate about writing?
I love stories. I have always loved stories. I taught myself to read with comic books when I was 3 or 4. I was just so in love with the stories. And so my sister and I used to tell each other stories at night to help each other fall asleep. And when she moved from Washington State to Minnesota, she was going to drive alone. I said, "Oh, no, 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 I'm coming with you." So I flew from Seattle and I picked up one of my favorite books by one of my favorite authors, The Lone Ranger and Tonto Fist Fight in Heaven by Sherman Alexie. And so as we were driving across Washington State and Oregon and Montana and, the North Dakota, we were reading each other from this book. While one was driving, the other one was reading. And the story takes place across those Pacific Northwest states. And so it was a really fun way to bring the story to life. But honestly, it's all about the story for me.
That's amazing. And so you've always loved stories, but have you always been a writer? Have you always written stories?
I started writing when I was 17, bad poetry as a teenager will do. I wasn't quite as precocious as you were at 11 and, knowing I was going to write. But I would write things down and I would find that difficult emotions were easier to manage when I saw them on paper, when I could put my ideas on paper and get them out of my head and let them actually take up space in the world, they became more magical. And then I developed a process of I start listening for stories, and I would, even if something happened to me, I then created an alter ego and immediately fictionalized the storyline and let that other person, that other character have an adventure. And it was just such a magical thing for me to do. And so I got excited about it, started publishing and winning all kinds of awards for my fiction. And then I thought, I could help other people do this. Yeah, I have a master's degree in literature. I mean, I love stories so much, I got a degree in storytelling, basically. So
Mm.
So yeah, and now because I love publishing so much, it's such a thrill. Did I not tell you what a thrill it would be to hold your book in your hand for the first time? I want people to experience that. It's such a thrill.
It is a thrill. So, what was your first publication that you got to hold in your hands for the very first time?
I I think my very first was a short story that I wrote that was included in the University of Irvine's literary publication. The story was called Woman in Black. And I was living in Los Angeles and learning how to be a writer, and that was the first story that I had accepted. And I felt legitimate. I felt like that was my bona fide. Like it was such a small publication, but it was such a big feeling in me. I thought I could do this, and so that's what I've continued to do. I hear a story or I see a circumstance, and it's like I get a message that that's your story to write. If you choose to accept the challenge, that's your story to write. And so I do. And then I hear people, I talk to people who want to write a book and they go, "Well," I say, "What's it about?" And they tell me the story. And I'm like, "That's fabulous. Let's do this." How long are you going to wait before you share your story? What will it take for you to finally share your story? And as you've experienced, that one book has engendered at least three already, right? Because one story naturally follows another.
Right, right. And you have published several of your own books, several
I
of your
have I have. I've published 6 books now, and I'm going to be producing my 7th because Love Notes from the Soul was so well received, and I had more authors who wanted to be in the book that could be in the book, that I'm launching another Love Notes from the Soul in 2025.
Wow.
So,
So this is
yeah.
your next upcoming writing project.
This is the next project. I'm starting to accept submissions of people's stories of transformation, of healing and hope and compassion for humanity. I think that I got a really clear message that hope and love notes are what we really need right now, and people have such wonderful stories to share. So as long as they're willing to share their stories, I'm willing to wrangle them into a book and share them with the world. So Love Notes 2.0 will be available in 2025.
Oh, I can't wait. And there is an interesting story behind how this came to be, right? How Love Notes for the Soul as an idea came to you.
It's always about a story, right? So I went on silent retreat in the spring of 2023. In March of 2023, I was invited to go on a silent retreat in Big Sur. And it's beautiful there. You're up above the high above the Pacific, and the mists are beautiful. And this is a monastery where the monks chant at sunrise and sunset. So I was sitting outdoors on this bench high above the Pacific, listening to the monks chanting in the background, reading Mary Oliver, and I got cracked open so big. I heard this voice that just said Love Notes Anthology. And it was like, oh, I was just given this direction. And then I thought, well, I don't know. I started talking to people about it, and they're like, what? What, Love Notes from the Soul? I want to be in that. So it's something that seems to resonate with people really deeply. We all have stories. Many people don't recognize their stories, but you start your book, Metamorphosis, with a story, right? That's how it all started. In the beginning was the Word. We share our stories and we literally create worlds with them.
Yes. So this is so exciting. My book is launching in November, and Love Notes 2.0 is launching in 2025.
Right.
So, keep in touch for those of us who are interested. For those of you who are interested, keep in touch with us. We're going to have the links, all the links to contact us, and for the books when they are ready to purchase, when they launch, those links will be added below. Anything else that you wanted to mention, Cynthia?
Yeah, I think that books are big projects. Anthologies are bite-sized ways to become published. If you're publishing curious, it's an easy way to get your name in print. And so when we populate the contact information, in the notes below, I would encourage anybody who has the idea for a book to run it by me if they just want anybody's feedback on it. It's a pretty low risk opportunity to do that and get some honest feedback about, what is possible to make that dream of publishing come true.
Yes, and I'm going to second that recommendation because Cynthia is such an amazing writing coach. And so if you're at all interested, if it's been something in the back of your mind that, I really have a book in me, Cynthia is the one to bring that out and bring it out in a really fun way that, while there's certainly a lot of work and effort involved, it can be a fun process and it can flow with ease. And Cynthia is the person to help you do that.
Absolutely. And if you want to experience the thrill of holding your book in your hands for the first time, let's have a conversation.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for chatting with me today, Cynthia. This has been fun.
Well, congratulations on the impending birth of your next book.
Thank you so much.